Today we're going over the 7.4 to 7.6 review. The first question is just in here to make sure that you all understand that you need to show your work on every single problem, and at the end of the test you will submit photos of your work. And you just have to click yes, I agree to show my work and submit photos. I set this up so that this is a section. Anytime you move between sections, you can't go back. So once you go on to the second section, that's where the actual questions for the test are going to be, is in the second section. So you say yes, go on to next question. Now, if you go up here and look at problems, you don't want to go beyond question 8. You don't want to try, like if I click review and test, question 9 I can't get to right now, question 1 I can't get to. Those are different sections. You want to stay on questions 2 through 8 until you are completely done with all of those questions before you move on to 9. Because once you move on to that last section where you submit your work, you can't go back. So make sure you stay in this middle section on numbers 2 through 8 until you are sure that you are done with numbers 2 through 8. The first one is simplify a complex fraction. We've got 6x to the 5th over 5y squared. Notice the 5y is inside parentheses. 5y squared means 5y times 5y, which is 25y squared. On the bottom, we have the quantity 3x squared, which is actually 9x squared, because 3x times 3x is 9x squared, over 15y to the 4th. Okay. With complex fractions, it's basically a division problem. You've got keep the first fraction the same, change the sign to multiply, and flip the second fraction. Then when you multiply across, 6 times 15 is 90, and we've got x to the 5th, y to the 4th. 25 times 9 is 225, and we have x squared and y squared. You can do 90 divided by 225 in your calculator to simplify that fraction. That gives you the fraction 2/5. Now that might be enough information to get your answer, but if I were going to keep going, x squared on the bottom will cancel out 2 of the 5 x's, leaving you with x to the 3rd on the top. Y squared will cancel out 2 of the 4 y's, leaving you with y squared on the top. So our answer is 2x cubed y squared over 5. The next one is a slightly more complicated complex fraction, and I'm actually going to do the bottom before anything. So I've got 1 over that 2x plus 10. I'm going to factor that. They both can be divided by 2. That's actually 2 times the quantity x plus 5. And we've got 7 over x plus 5. Both of these have an x plus 5. The first one has a 2, the second one needs a 2, but if you multiply the bottom by 2, you have to also multiply the top by 2. So what do we really have here? We have 1 plus 14, that would be 15. And on the bottom we have 2 times the quantity x plus 5. Now that is really the bottom of this complex fraction. So the top of the complex fraction is 3 over x plus 5. Change the sign to multiply. This is the bottom of that complex fraction, so flip that. And then let's see what we can simplify. I see that there's an x plus 5 on the bottom that will cancel out an x plus 5 on the top, and that leaves me with the fraction 6 over 15. Now, some of you might be saying, well, can't that be simplified? Because, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 15 divided by 3 is 5, so that really is the fraction 2/5, but for some reason it's not simplified. Maybe it was written like that to confuse photomath. I don't know, stranger things have happened. Solve the equation. We have z plus 2 over 3, leave a space, equals, my pen's not working, 5, leave a space, and I'm going to change that to plus a negative z over 15. Okay, now looking at the numbers that I have in this, specifically the fact that there's a 3 in the denominator right here, I'm going to change this 15. You're not really changing it, but I'm going to rewrite 15 as 3 times 5. So my denominators are 3 and 5. We've got a 3 right here, and we've got a 3 and a 5 in this denominator here. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3 and times 5. So times 3 times 5 times 3 times 5 times 3 times 5. In the first fraction, 3 cancels, and we're left with 5 times the quantity z plus 2. 5 times 5 times 3. We have to multiply those three things together. 5 times 5 times 3 is 75. 3 times 5 cancels out 3 times 5, and I've got a negative z. So we've got 5z plus 10 equals negative z plus 75. I just switched the order just so that my z's are first. You don't have to do that, of course. I'm going to add z to both sides to get 6z plus 10 equals 75. Subtract 10 on both sides. 6z equals 65. Divide both sides by 6 to get z equals 65 over 6. Very important that you show your work. Specifically, we will be looking for this part of the work because that's the part that shows me that you know what to do to solve this equation. The next problem, we have 5 over x plus 5 plus 2 over, I'll bet that we can, I don't know if that highlighter actually works. I'll bet that we can factor that second denominator. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 20 and add up to 1. That would be negative 4 and positive 5. So that denominator factors into x minus 4, x plus 5, and equals negative 4 over x minus 4. All right, our denominators are x plus 5 and x minus 4, so I'm going to multiply everything by x plus 5, x minus 4. Again, this is the piece that we are really looking for when we ask you to show your work. This is the part that shows us that you know what you're doing to solve the equation. And if you don't have this work shown, we're going to be questioning how you got to the next step. And I really don't want us to have to question how you're getting to the next step. All right, x plus 5 cancels, leaving us with 5 times the quantity x minus 4. They both cancel, so plus 2. And then x minus 4 cancels, so negative 4 times the quantity x plus 5. So this is 5x minus 20 plus 2 equals negative 4x minus 20. If we combine like terms, and I know there's, I know there's several ways that you could go about this, but this is 5x minus 18 equals negative 4x minus 20. Add 4x to both sides. I've got 9x minus 18 equals negative 20. Add 18 to both sides. 9x equals negative 2. So x equals negative 2/9. This next equation, there are several ways that you could solve this. I'm going to show you the way that is the most similar to how I would suggest you solve the problem similar to this on the actual test. So I've got x, I've got 8, and I've got 20 over x. These have denominators of 1. We don't typically write those, but there is a denominator of 1 there. So the denominators that I see are x. I'm going to multiply everything by x. In this first one, x times x is x squared. 8 times x is 8x. And then the x cancels, leaving us with equals 20. Anytime we have x squared and x on the same equation, we get one side equal to 0, so that we can factor and solve. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 20 and add up to 8. You got 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. 2 and 10 would give us 8 if we had a negative 2 and a positive 10. So x minus 2, x plus 10 equals 0, which means our solutions are positive 2 and negative 10. X equals positive 2 and -10. And notice this problem is a select all that apply. So x equals 2 and x equals -10. And I want to take a moment to explain the other solutions that exist here. If both of those, remember we have to check to see in the original problem, would 2 make a denominator equal 0? No. Would -10 make a denominator equal 0? No. So both of them are fine. If both of them didn't work, we would click no solution. If only one of them worked, say that this was like an x minus 2 right here in this denominator, then 2 wouldn't work and we'd say no second solution. So this problem is designed so that you have to click more than one. If only one of them is a solution, you click one of them and then click no second solution for your other solution, since it's a multi-select problem. Write a model for the statement. V varies jointly. Jointly is a way of saying that you're going to be multiplying k by a couple of different things. So k times h and the 5th power of r. So k h r to the 5th. This next problem, your first step is to write the statement. So z varies directly. Varies directly means k times, so k times x, and inversely. Inversely means k divided by the square root of y. Then they're going to give you the numbers. So z is 2,700 when x is 36 and y is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. And 36 divided by 2, that's pretty easy to do in our head. 36 divided by 2 is 18. So this is 2,700 equals k times 18. Divide both sides by 18. And we get 150 equals k. Now there's two answers here that have 150 as your constant of variation, or as the number that's in the equation. So you need to go back to what we originally wrote and take that k and put the 150 in its place. So our answer is z equals 150x divided by the square root of y. Now, if you really know what you're doing with this problem, you may be able to pick out the correct answer just by looking at your answer choices. But notice that 40x over square root of y is pretty close. This x over 150 square root of y, if k happens to be 1 over 150, then that one could be correct. So there are several that are similar that could be. You will need to make sure that you show the work to figure out what k is so that you can then pick the correct equation with the correct value of k in there. Okay, super important. You've reached the end of this section. This is all of the questions. You might want to say stay on this question and then click review. You want to make sure that numbers 2 through 8, that you have those all done before you move on to 9. So I'm going to go back to question 8 and say, yes, I'm good, move on, go on to the next question. Once you get here, you can't go back. So if you come to question 9 before you're ready, you're locked out of the rest of your test. And that's going to be a problem because there's no way for us on the teacher end to unlock that again. So once you go to this last section, you're done with the questions on your test. Notice there's 2 questions here. You do need to answer these questions if you want your points. So I think I got an A on this test and I did or did not use PhotoMath. So I'm hoping that you did not, but tell me honestly whether you did or did not. Click the paper clip. This activates your camera, and then you can hold your paper up. You can take multiple pictures. So get a clear picture, click take the picture, attach to question. Ignore that, it is there. And then say back to webcam. Then you can take a second picture, attach, click back to webcam, take another picture. You can attach as many pictures as you want. Ignore that, it's because I deleted things previously. Once you are done and you've got all of the pictures that you want attached, at the top right, there's the little X. It's kind of weird. There's no like I'm done button. You click the X to get out of that webcam. Notice in the top left corner, it now says that you have 3 pictures attached. So however many pictures you took, that number should be there. You can still click that and add more if you want to, and then end your test.